Hey, MAGA. Yesterday was Taco Tuesday, and your cult leader held true to form. We lost this war and effectively surrendered to Iran on their terms. But more on that in a second. The quote-unquote president of peace, and guy who said he'd actually stop wars, but has threatened war crimes and arguably nuclear threats, while also manipulating the stock market and commodities markets, which are impeachable offenses, by the way, has now spent billions of taxpayer dollars for Tomahawk missiles and other munitions. 13 service members are now dead, with over 200 more injured. 168 school children and teachers are dead. You have skyrocketing fuel costs. And the rest of the world hates us even more now. And they've also pivoted away from us because of the global knock-on effects, which have thrown the entire world into chaos, essentially. We are now the pariah nation, all fighting for Israel's war on their behalf. Meanwhile, faux news is parroting lies yet again to make it seem like the U.S. was the one who brokered this ceasefire. But you want to know what that 10-point plan actually says? Here, I'll read the stipulations, and you let us know in the comments if this is what winning looks like to you. Number 1, U.S. commitment to ensure no further acts of aggression. Continued Iranian control of the Strait of Hormuz. Acceptance of Iran's nuclear enrichment rights. Lifting of all primary sanctions. Lifting of all secondary sanctions. Termination of all United Nations Security Council resolutions against Iran. Termination of all International Atomic Energy Agency Board of Governors resolutions against Iran. Payment of damages to Iran for loss in the war. Withdrawal of U.S. combat forces from the region. Cessation of hostilities on all fronts, including Lebanon. So that's all 10 of them. By the way, if you're viewing this, Iranians are openly celebrating our capitulation in the streets, and Iranian state-sponsored media are openly mocking the Orange Man, depicting him in AI videos waving a white flag. Meanwhile, even as I was putting this video together, Israel just blew up hundreds of civilians in Lebanon. The regime change only resulted in an even more hardline Iranian leader put in place. And Hegseth just said, quote unquote, we own the skies. We do not, in fact, own the skies. We just had an F-15 shot down and had to rescue both pilots. And we had an A-10 shot down just before that. And how about opening the Strait of Hormuz? Well, it was open before the war started, and now that it reopened, Iran still controls it on their terms. But now there's also effectively a giant toll booth now to funnel $2 million at a time, and an estimated $35 billion directly to the still intact regime. So all that said, your government, with the aid of faux news, is lying to you. Trump tacoed, and we accepted defeat on Iran's terms. We lost. But I'm going to pivot here for a minute and talk to the grown-ups in the audience who are on the right side of history. You've heard the increasing chatter about impeachment. Fayetteville Resistance Coalition has been lobbying for impeachment for months now. We've hand-delivered articles of impeachment to Congressman Richard Hudson and David Rouser's office in D.C., as well as their district offices. You heard me talk about this at the Fayetteville No Kings rally, but here's how you can actually contribute to this effort. If you're in Fayetteville, it depends which side of town you live on as to whether Richard Hudson or David Rouser is your congressional representative. I want you to go to ncleg.gov. That's ncleg.gov. And if you're on a mobile device, click on the little menu button at the top right. And when that opens, click on the Find Your Legislators option. If you're on desktop, the Find Your Legislators piece option will be already listed there at the very top right of the web page. From there, punch in your address and it'll bring up a map of North Carolina and you'll see your reps. It'll also show you who your North Carolina state congressional representatives are. Those are the NC House and NC Senate radio button options. But for right now, I want you to focus on the default U.S. House option. There are links there which will take you to contact options for either Richard Hudson or David Rouser, again, depending on where you're at, where you live, your address. Note this is not just for Fayetteville, though. Hudson's district also covers a huge swath of territory, which includes all of Alamance, Hoke, Moore, and Randolph counties, as well as portions of Chatham, Cumberland, and Guilford counties. Also a small part of Greensboro, actually, too. Rouser's district covers all of Bladen, Brunswick, Columbus, New Hanover, and Pender counties, as well as portions of Cumberland County, Robeson, and Sampson counties. Call your representative and demand impeachment for Trump. Also demand impeachment for Hegseth for war crimes and targeting boats in the Caribbean and threatening no quarter, both impeachable offenses again, for which we also delivered those articles of impeachment. So it's not just for Trump. They have literal hard copies of these articles at virtually all of their offices. So there's no excuse for them, if you call and we haven't heard of this, yes, they have. Call them and demand they take action on these, because it's past time for this call to action. We have to stand up. We've been saying this for months now. Impeach, convict, remove.